As we enter 2026, increasingly unusual phenomena are unfolding in mainland China. What's going on in the north? Groundwater is gushing out and the birds are flocking to the area. These unusual phenomena suddenly began erupting in December 2025. Is this a harbinger of something major or just a normal natural phenomenon? Recently, groundwater has suddenly started gushing out in many parts of 4 provinces and Hebei. What's most puzzling is that some of the springs are spewing hot water. During this period, many places in northern China have experienced well overflows and hot springs gushing out. On January 6, in the cold farmland of Hebei City, Shandong Province, an abandoned well suddenly began to spew hot water. This is Wuluko village. Starting this morning, January 6, this fountain suddenly appeared. Look, it's still steaming. The water temperature has reached 34 to 35 degrees Celsius, or even 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. You can take a bath there. The water is very warm, over 30 degrees Celsius. It's amazing. I've never heard of anything like this before. Mr. Wang, a villager, said that this well was dug about 6 or 7 years ago, but the water was undrinkable, so the wellhead was covered. As a result, the well was gushing water 24 hours a day from the 6th to the 7th, but now it's stopped. It's a deep well. They say it's over 800 meters deep. Look, they're measuring it with a thermometer. Everyone said it might erupt again, but it's not erupting now. Let me check the temperature. It's still 30 degrees Celsius. In response, an official from Linzi District Natural Resources Bureau stated that the geothermal resources have been explored here before, but it hadn't erupted. Experts said that the recent heavy rainfall and rising water levels are normal. As a result, the local government sent people to seal the wellhead. Netizens clearly did not believe the experts' analysis, and many warned. This is an earthquake, not a hot spring, and Shandong has been experiencing frequent earthquakes recently. The sudden appearance of a hot spring is probably due to rising underground temperatures and active magma, right? Everyone should be cautious when sleeping at night. On December 28, 2025, a netizen in Shanxi province posted a video claiming to have discovered underground hot spring water. Did you release the water today? Let me record this for you. Look, I don't even dare to put my hands in the water to be hurt. According to villagers in Resurfacing village, an exploration team drilled wells in the village earlier last year. Recently, hot water was pumped from a well nearly 3,000 meters underground with a temperature of around 70 degrees Celsius. Villagers said that before this, no hot springs had been found in the village. On December 4th, 2025, an abandoned well in Liyuanhe village, Henan province, suddenly gushed forth spring water with a temperature of over 30 degrees Celsius. Look how big the water is. Today is the 6th day since the spring started flowing. How many more days will this hot spring water flow? How many more days will it flow? I have tested it for you. The water temperature is neither hot nor cold. It's not cold, around 30 degrees Celsius. The elderly in the village said that this was originally a spring on the upper reaches of the Jinan River. Many of the older folks used to bathe nearby when they were young, and the water temperature was just right in the winter. Later, the spring dried up and it hasn't flowed for over 30 years. The Jinan River is also known as Jiangzhou's Mother River. And it's not just this one spring that has resurfaced. Several other springs around Liyuanhe village have also started flowing again. A netizen filmed the process of removing sand from the third hot spring in the Jialu River. Thank you, friends. The water level is rising, flushing out sediment. Spring number 3 is flushing out sediment. In response, some joke that the resurrection of the hot springs is the Dragon King's return from his trip, while others commented, "The sudden appearance of hot springs in multiple locations indicates crustal movement. Are there any geological experts investigating this?" Baoding Spring in Jinan City, Shandong Province, known as the first spring, reached its highest water level in nearly 60 years on October 14, 2025, with the real-time water level rising to 30.29 meters, breaking the record set in 1966. Have you seen the Baoding Spring like this? No. I've been in Jinan for 27 years, and this is the first time I've seen such a large volume of water. Recently, several ancient springs in Baoding City, Hebei Province, which have been dry for decades, suddenly and collectively gushed forth again. Water overflowed from the underground wells, flooding farmland and orchards. This is footage from rural Baoding City showing numerous springs bubbling up near farmland and clear water also flowing from wells. On December 24, 2025, a video posted by a netizen showed that White Dragon Spring in Baoding City had started gushing water again. Nanja Village, Baoding City, Hebei Province. I just saw water everywhere on the roads and streets, and some houses were also flooded. Some people say this is a rare spectacle of a mulberry field turning into the sea. What's puzzling is that it's currently the coldest time of winter. The fields in the countryside should have been frozen long ago. How could there be such widespread flooding? Local villagers say that there were signs of flooding as early as August 2025, and the cause was unknown. The phenomenon of water seeping from the ground is expanding, raising concerns that something serious might be happening.
家人们，这什么情况啊？
Fans, what's going on? Hot water is seeping up from the ground in so many places. I heard that a well in Zhengzhou, Henan, which dried up in 1993, is now gushing out hot water of over 30 degrees Celsius, forming a river. The Jinsu South Spring in Taiyuan, Shanxi, which had been dry for nearly 30 years, has started flowing again. The Baoding Spring in Jinan, Shandong, has reached a 60-year high water level, and the Baichuan Spring in Shanxi, Hebei, has also re-emerged into a lake. This is so strange. In response, netizens commented, "If something goes wrong, there must be something fishy behind it." A sudden rise in well water levels can be caused by a variety of factors, some of which may be natural phenomena, while others may be related to geological activity. Possible causes include earthquake precursors. This is because pressure changes within the Earth's crust before an earthquake can cause abnormal groundwater levels. There are many more similar examples in Beijing, Hebei, Henan, Shandong, Shanxi, Sichuan, Guizhou, Hebei, and other parts of China. Groundwater has been gushing out, or springs that have been dry for decades have resurfaced. Moreover, these hot springs and old springs have recently revived almost without warning. The volume of water gushing out is also astonishing. Some springs are said to gush out hundreds of tons of warm water per hour. Why are these abnormal phenomena occurring in so many parts of China? In traditional Chinese thought and ancient texts, abnormal groundwater movements and the resurgence of dried-up springs are not simple natural phenomena, but are considered important omens of an imbalance of the qi of heaven and earth, often corresponding to political situations, moral level, disasters, and the fate of dynasties. In ancient Chinese cultures and feng shui, unusual groundwater flow generally signifies an imbalance in the foundation. The order was under pressure and the carrying capacity had reached its limit. As the saying goes, water surging back means chaos. In the history of Ming and a brief history of the late Ming dynasty during the reign of the last Ming emperor Chongzhen, the calamities in Beijing shared a common characteristic. Beijing and its surrounding areas repeatedly experienced instances of water gushing from the ground without rain. Low-lying areas within the city were flooded, well water levels rose rapidly, fluctuating between clear and turbid, and in some places the ground cracked open, gushing water only to quickly dry up again. This sounds very similar to the video footage we shared above. The history of Ming also summarized this with a weighty statement: when water does not follow its proper course, the nation will lose its order. In other words, it's not that there is too much water, but rather that the pressure is too great. Many believe the Ming dynasty perished due to bandits in the Manchu army. However, scholars of astronomical and geographical phenomena argue that the true causes of its demise were already present: financial depletion, escalating taxes, a dysfunctional bureaucracy, and a closed system of communication, leaving the people with no recourse for their grievances. This sounds remarkably similar to the problems facing Chinese society today. A brief history of the late Ming dynasty states, when the people's spirit is suppressed and cannot be expressed, the earth first stirs. This can be interpreted as the earth shaking because the people's suffering and resentment are not being properly addressed. Therefore, we might speculate that the sudden appearance of hot springs and gushing water in many parts of China during winter is not due to increased rainfall in summer and autumn, as experts suggest, but rather to the fact that people's grievances and injustices are not being properly addressed or expressed. Under the rule of the CCP, the entire country has lost order and faces turmoil. The CCP is now tyrannical, and the people are suffering immensely, yearning for change. Someone used AI to create a video depicting China abandoning the Communist Party's rule, which likely reflects the true sentiments of many who have endured CCP oppression. After the CCP's collapse, the provisional government of mainland China announced a new referendum on the capital. Zhengzhou, Wuhan, and Nanjing competed, and Nanjing ultimately won by a landslide. Guaranteeing citizens' rights, constitutionalism, freedom, and democracy are the fundamental principles. From today onward, every Chinese person will have protection and dignity. Freedom. Vote. From another perspective, during the transition from the old to the new in late 2025 to early 2026, many parts of China experienced hot water seeping from the ground during the cold winter, which may also be related to natural disasters. One netizen pointed out, "Pay attention to areas with high levels of hot water. Water flows downhill. If water is bubbling up, it indicates significant underground pressure and tectonic plate movement, forcing the water to the surface. Hot water in particular is heated by underground magma. Therefore, pay attention to the local earthquake situation, especially in areas that have experienced earthquakes in the past." That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.